Hey guys, Bobby Rio here with Rob Judge, and today we've got one simple little technique that I like to think of as the kind of technique you always have in your pocket to whip out in a variety of situations. It's one of my favorite techniques, and it's called the false time constraint. So Rob, first off, did you ever use this? Was this, because I know back in the day this was something that somebody had taught me, and a lot of people forgot about it.
They did. It's like kind of the forgotten technique that always works. It's just one of these things that you throw in there. It's almost like a disqualifier where it just makes the whole social situation so much better. It's almost like, I hate to use the analogy, but have you ever had someone where they're like, oh, I'm not racist, but. And then they say the most racist shit you've ever heard. But and I'm not excusing racist rhetoric. However, it almost takes the sting of what they're about to say, or another example.
Pressure more.
Yeah, the pressure. Yeah, or and I used to use this even in the day game. I used to say, oh, this is totally random, or hey, I'm not trying to be the creepy guy on the train, but. And it's similar. Psychologically, the psychological concept behind this is similar to those types of statements where you pre-qualify something to just put the other person at ease.
Yeah. So if you have never heard of a false time constraint, let me just explain it. Like Rob said, it's something you say before doing something to put the other person at ease. An example would be if you were going to approach a woman in a bar, you might walk up to her and say, hey, I only have a second, I got to get back to my friends, and then you start talking to her, but I came over here to ask you this question, or but I just wanted to tell you this. And the reason you're saying this, right, the false time constraint portion of this is, hey, I only have a minute, I got to get back to my friends. The reason it works so well is because now the woman is like, you know what, I'm going to give you 3 reasons it works so well. Okay? Reason number 1, when you say, I got to get back to my friends, now the woman's like subconsciously is not going, oh my God, am I going to get stuck talking to this guy? I don't know if I want to talk to him. So she's going to put her guard up. But when you say, I only have a minute, I got to get back to my friends, now she's kind of like, oh, okay, like I'm not going to get stuck with him. She could be more comfortable talking to you, which is going to make a better interaction. Number 2, and I learned this personally, right? Back in the day, I was scared shitless to talk to a woman, right? To go up to a woman in a bar or whatever. And the reason I was really scared was not because I was afraid of rejection. I was scared, it was actually the opposite, right? I was scared I was going to go talk to her. She was going to want to talk to me. And then I was going to talk to her for a couple minutes and then run out of things to say. And things were going to, we've all been there where, you're like, oh, what the hell do I say? And you just notice that awkwardness just growing. And you're like, so the time constraint is actually great because when you walk up and you say, hey, I got to get back to my friends, you're actually giving yourself kind of like a parachute, right? Like, you have a reason. So the minute things get awkward, instead of having to go, oh, I gotta pee, I'll be right back. You can, hey, I gotta go back to my friends, but let's talk again in a minute. You've given yourself an out, which takes a lot of that pressure off.
It really does, and that's the thing. And you can't overestimate that enough. But how much of the pressure takes off of you because. Aside from the fact that it's just, once you say it, it's almost like one of these magic spells. You just see, because like you said, the girl in the back of her mind, she doesn't want to think, oh my God, this guy's not going to leave. Once you do that, it's almost invoking the idea of scarcity. That your time is scarce, and it has more, anything that's scarce has more value.
Which is the number 3 thing, is that when you say, hey, I only got 5 minutes, or hey, I only got a minute, I got to get back to my friends, you're essentially, it's a little bit of, you're a little bit putting yourself above her, right? Your time is so valuable that you only have a couple minutes. It's sort of like there's always that underlying power dynamic in a relationship or any sort of interaction. And the minute you do that, you're kind of putting yourself slightly above her, which is naturally going to make her go, why? Oh, this guy's not really wanting to commit to talk to me. So it subtly makes her see you as being slightly above her. It's kind of a power move. And Rob and I are huge fans of these little subtle power moves because the fact is you can say it's political correctness and it's blah, blah, I don't want to be... In any relationship, there's always a dynamic of power. It's just the way it is, right? Now, Rob has also noticed that this idea of a false time constraint can actually be a little bit more universal.
Yeah, it's like on a more sort of larger scale, on a global scale, I started even saying this when I meet a girl off Tinder and we're making plans to grab drinks. I would say to her, I'd kind of jokingly say, oh, it's a school night. I might, I'm probably gonna have to go in early tonight, but you seem really cool. I would love to grab a drink with you. And it works, those exact same principles. And then I'm gonna even throw in a fourth reason why, when you use this in a sort of a global sense like that, it preempts the automatic assumption that where she's like, oh, this guy's just trying to have sex with me. By saying that, you put a little of that. I mean, I absolutely was always trying to have sex with any girl on a date with, as any guy is. But at the same time, you sort of sidestep that objection that a lot of girls have to meeting a guy for the first time, or to meeting a guy, especially, it worked especially well when I would use it on Tinder or Bumble or somewhere where she didn't already get a sense of who I was in person. So by throwing out this little disclaimer like, hey, it's a school night, I might have, I probably only stay for a drink, or, I had to be somewhere, so we can only grab a cup of coffee, but I want to meet you. And it's so funny because when the date goes well, no girl is ever like, wait a minute, didn't you tell me you had a business meeting after this cup of coffee? Like, it never happens. Like once you're enjoying yourself and things are going well, it's like, same thing with like when you're having a great conversation at a bar. No girl's going to be like, didn't you tell me you had to be back to your friends in a second? And if she does say that, it's probably not going as well as you thought it was, if you remember.
But you can even use it, as Rob said, he mentioned going on a date universally. Like, let's say you want to invite a woman back to your house, right? Let's say you're out on a date and you want to go back to your house. You can say something along the lines of like, I have a really early day at work tomorrow, but I make the best martini. Come back to my house. You can have one, but like I said, it's an early day. Like, you kind of like sell. It's an early day, so you're inviting her back, but like you're not going to be able to stay over, right? You're like kind of like giving that time, that time constraint. Like, you can only stay for a little bit because I have early work. In her head, it gives her that same thing. Like, oh, I'm not going over there to spend the night because he's got to get up early in the morning. So he's telling, it's just a way to take that pressure off. Have fun with it. It's a great technique. And here's the thing. Techniques like this, when you stack them on top, when you have a whole bunch of them, right? Little things, something as simple as a false time constraint. When you have like a lot of these things in your pocket, it makes everything easier, right? Whether you're going on a date, whether you're meeting her on Tinder, the more of these little techniques you have, the easier it's going to be, especially nowadays, because so much of dating has changed. Everything's changed, right? I mean, if you're out in the scene, you already know. Like, it's not like it was. Dating apps, everything has changed. How you met women in the past, the things you used to do doesn't really work anymore. We'd like you to watch a little bit longer video where we talk about some new rules and actually give some other techniques that are working nowadays in this new dating culture.